City Boy, number 5, written by Greg Pak with art by Minkyu Jung, Mike Choi, Sebastian Cheng, and Wes Abbott. And in this issue, City Boy just needs to get away from it all. He needs to be away from the cities like Bloodhaven and Metropolis. So he goes out into the woods where he's confronted by Swamp Thing, but not before he realizes that his powers have taken an odd turn. Well, not taken an odd turn. He's had them all along, but he hasn't discovered cities are more than just buildings that people live in. They're also things in anthills. Ants have cities. Animals have cities. So we call upon the spirit of the city of an anthill, which just becomes a gigantic ant. And I'm like, look, I like City Boy. I like the idea of his powers and all of this, because even Swamp Thing, when he comes into I've dealt with the Parliament of Gears, the Parliament of metal. Like, these are things that man has built, the Machine Queen. I feel like I love the callbacks to that. But when you've taken his power to the point of
why did we have to go this far in just a miniseries? Like, there's a lot of other things and a lot of other cities.
It's so funny to me, because even the idea where Swamp Thing would see City Boy as a threat, I like that, because Apocalypse being a part of what turned him into his, with Bakari's son doing the experiments for the hopes that he would one day lose control or take control but be evil and turn Earth into another apocalypse by spreading the cities all the way around where fire pits will burn for endlessly. That's great. I can see Swamp Thing going after him, saying, look, you might be a threat. I need to take you down. Even though you don't want to be doing these things to City Boy, I might have to do it for the Greens. But when our issue just becomes, oh, God, I got to fight an anthill and a giant ant monster, I'm like, I don't know about all the City Boys anymore.
Yeah, the City Boys, and again, this thing with the Swamp Thing and this anthill and the ant, it feels like something that... I guess. I mean, he's mentioning some things. It kind of feels very generic, but when you end up having this feels like what we would get if this was a popular book and this mini-series then became an ongoing, something along the lines of, okay, we can't just keep doing hey, let's show that there's more to it. And so when you get to it, and then at the end, I'm thinking, no, all it was you have to get Swamp Thing somehow involved because he could use the green to then search around and find out that City Boy's mom's dead. I mean, that seems to be the only thing that we're getting here.
But her gravestone's right here.
Right there. I mean, he basically was sleeping on it, but hey, there you go. And even at the beginning of this, where I have liked City Boy, like you just said, we have enjoyed this. Actually, it was the surprise that this is our favorite one. So we're like, okay, because it's dealing with the character. The Makari's son, I think, might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're very intrigued by that. That was that tie-in that you really enjoyed and wanted to see more of as well. But then when we end up starting this off even, I'm like, okay, Metropolis 20 years ago, I think that some people get a little confused of what's going on here anyway. But you end up like, oh my God, City Boy, he killed a cockroach. Damn, you slap and then send you off. And then he even says to Swamp Thing, like,
not on my watch.
Even when he's thinking, he's like, yep. And then I told my shrink in jail, I'm like, what world are we living in? Did he get arrested because he killed a cockroach? It was so odd at the beginning just to connect to this. I don't know, because then Swamp Thing shows up, and the big play, though, that I do still like, and again, I said you were intrigued more by it, is that idea that you get in this, that they have to set him up. We like him. You have to set up he has darkness.
Yeah. He's had a tough time and he has to work through it, be a better person than the environment that he grew up in.
And the darkness is what the cities are being fueled by, and that's what they need to make the pits. That's why they make the new apocalypse. But the thing is, it's so weird at the beginning that I get this idea that you end up having Greg Pak, and he's like, okay, I want to start where City Boy's mutilating a cat. And they're like, you can't do that. And he's like, but I want to show that he's got a darkness. Have him kill a cockroach. All right. I guess I'm real dark, Eric, because I hate cockroaches.
Well, no, that's the thing, is everybody's going to kill a cockroach in a city. So even a kid doing that, maybe even pinning it, because you even have people who collect bugs and butterflies and pin that shit and stuff. So I can see that maybe even being a hobby, maybe something, an interest he doesn't know he has yet. But not exactly a dark thing. He kills a cockroach. He lives in a city.
Even a little kid, even if it's something like he's like, look at me, I'm at war with the cockroach. Beep, beep, beep.
He kills a cat, though. He's a serial killer.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. You can't go that far because we still want to like the character. But in this issue, suddenly, Greg Pak has to come up with a way to say, oh, he's got some darkness in him. And if he isn't able to quell that enough, the city feeds off that. And that's what Makari's son and all of them are going to try to do with it. And it just is out of nowhere, and it's not enough, and it made me giggle, the idea of the skull. Like, the next day, you see he's there, okay, class, we're going to dissect a frog. Oh, no! He gets slapped
I just
again.
have to imagine, though, this whole idea, like, is his mom going to turn out to be the insect queen? I don't understand, because here you have young Cameron in his apartment in Bloodhaven when he's a kid, and his mother finds him sticking a needle through a cockroach. I don't think this is his mom. It has to be his mom.
It's Metropolis. She left him in Metropolis. This doesn't make sense. This seems like all of a sudden he's in...
Maybe they were in Metropolis. He drops it off at the grandfather in Metropolis and moves to Bloodhaven. For some reason, I thought they went from Bloodhaven to Metropolis, drop off the grandfather, and she moved back to Bloodhaven.
And the idea of Metropolis, she went to Bloodhaven. I'm thinking that at some point, because we didn't know what happened, I think that he might be in an orphanage at this point, and that's why they come and slap. I don't know. I think he died. He died of a broken heart.
Well, okay, look, I'm going to go with the idea that this is Cameron's mother, just because that's what I have in the back of my mind for everything we've been exposed to with City Boy so far. He's a little boy. Weird. I don't think he's been abandoned by his mama yet. So when she walks in their Metropolis, why don't they have to go with Bloodhaven? Let's say Metropolis. Metropolis is still a city.
It is Metropolis. It says Metropolis 20 years ago. It's very odd.
She walks in. She sees a pin stuck through a cockroach. She slaps him and yells, "You killed it!" And the appropriate response is, "Thank you, but don't do it that way again," to stomp on him because there's a little pest or bastards.
Damn you, I was just about to knit with that needle. And the thing is, why I brought it up, at the idea that it's weird, because it then makes my song wrong, because I'm there, because they did grow up in Gotham. She left when she dropped them off to go to Bloodhaven, and now all of a sudden, 20 years ago, they're in Metropolis, and his mom's beating him.
We moved around a lot.
And the idea of him, like, is it supposed to show the mom was a piece of shit because he really wants to find his mom? It's so confusing why we're starting this way, but it does feel like it is his mom, and she's mad about insects.
Into hands-on parenting.
This is why she's like, "You killed a cockroach. You're going with your grandfather. He always kills the cockroaches. Get the hell out of here." It's so weird a start. But again, later it's...
For 7 generations, our family's been in pest control, and I said no more. But here's my son killing bugs right before me. You're living with your grandfather. You're one of those people. You belong to the streets, Cameron.
And again, then to then pull it into that you're going to get this giant out. I said before that I think she was. But so you end up where this big ant attacking. Oh, my God, I'm having problems controlling it. Swamp Thing shows up to give a little... Swamp Thing thinking time about what this could all mean and what the green is. And
you gotta go touch some grass.
That's okay. It's this
is a funny throw-out.
And he does. The worst, though, is that Cameron's like, "Oh, you're telling a joke." Like, you just kind of explained that he was telling a joke, but it was kind of funny. And in that, though, you're able to, okay, this is the green. And the green saber, I like the idea as well. The green, there's actually some green things in the city. Didn't you know?
Of course there is, dummy.
Yeah, we're like, we kind of know this. I thought about the Brave and the Mold, too, where, the Swamp Thing just talking to the grass to solve everything. But they're able to track the deal of his mom. And they do play the idea that he's having problems, and I'm wondering...
It's so weird to me that in this continuity that Bloodhaven was still nuked, and during the time after he was abandoned by his mother, she moved back to Bloodhaven, or to Bloodhaven for the first time, who knows how this works, started a whole other family, and then Bloodhaven was nuked, and everybody evacuated the city, and they lived out in the woods for a while, where his mother died, and apparently her new family buried her right there and somehow found concrete to make a headstone.
They might have eaten her. I don't know. Things got real wacky in those woods after the explosions there. I think they became cannibals, is what I think.
I really wish that they didn't have that still in continuity. It feels so weird.
And that is weird, but again, what you're playing is that, oh my God, Cameron says, I could track my mom in Bloodhaven, but then it disappeared. For then Swamp Thing to just say, well, I'll pick that up. Oh, they were in the woods and she died. Here's the grave. Bada bing, bada boom. And this whole thing felt like, was this just going to be a 5-issue mini? Because we're at the penultimate issue and this is kind of bullshit, this issue. There's not a lot going on. Some of the things aren't even well explained. And then it's just the darkness. Yeah,
Cameron's now losing control, though, and he's actually just spreading out, just like Dr. McCarty's son wants him to do. So now Cameron has to pull it all back because he pretty much everything he wanted to do in finding his mother, it's all over there. He has to forge a new path that does not lead to the end of the world. So you at least have that for your finale.
And I love, but again, that could have just been anything to say, because then he's like, I'm going to take it to the city. I'm going to go. I can't run from myself. Man, I'm going to do this. Swamp Thing tries to stop him with this big ant. And then just miles away, McCarthy's son's like, good boy.
Yes, do it.
Like,
unleash your anger.
I love the idea. He's just sitting there looking into the woods. He's like, yes, Kevin. I'm like, this is weird. This is a weird.
I just like the idea though, because he learns about all of this. He's like, Cameron, where are you going? Shh. And then Cameron's seeing through the woods where the city would be. Like, he sees the city through the trees. He's like, you said you can't run from yourself. Cameron, wait. Well, you know what? I used to pin cockroaches with needles. I'm going to do that in a bigger scale. And he just unleashes the power of the city in the freaking woods. And just, like, everything becomes concrete and steel. And just, yes, unleash your darkness, Cameron, for apocalypse.
Can you imagine that they go and we see next issue, there's going to be a bonus scene where it is Makari's son. He's outside with a box of cockroaches. He's like, shoo, get in that room. Go to it's just to set up this. Because, again, it feels like what we're saying in this, which I don't really get because the time, he seems younger than what he is. Like, it's 20 years ago, so that makes him a weird age. He seems younger than that, but also it's Metropolis when he should have been gone. And so when you get all to that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is the purpose of all of this going on with this? The cockroach thing just threw me off so much.
I'm still waiting to figure out how the Lazarus Rain changed his powers.
Well, I guess he started liking cockroaches.
Like if you told me, like if we didn't have that Lazarus Planet tie-in, we just know that Cameron was somehow affected by the Lazarus Rain, and like it was just letting us know that there's a City Boy series coming forward. If you tell me he had the City Boy powers because of what Makari's son did to him years ago when the experiment happened, and then the Lazarus thing changed it, so he's tapping into the red and the green combined because of the city elements of what, like, let's say a fungus's like city system would be like, or an ant hill or stuff like that. Like, because I'm telling you, this new aspect of his power out of nowhere in issue number 5, it just feels like, oh yeah, he can do anything. Just say the word city and that motherfucker's controlling your ass.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. I want to find out later, like if it was continuing, that all of a sudden his weakness is he can't really attack towns, villas. Like they have to be cities.
This is a village.
Like you said, though, it is one of those things, and I laugh about it. It's a Marvel thing, but there's other characters like that with a Black Cat. You say, Black Cat, can you go and get me, some a sandwich? And she's like, no. Oh, can you do the heist to get me? She'll get like, this is just, you just have to name things cities. And you're like, oh, you got to go attack Smallville. Oh, like, okay, Smallville City. All right, I'm in. Like, you just have to add city to it. It's just goofy. But again, why something? It just seems just extraneous. You're getting away from the deal. But then at the end, you have Makari's son laughing and like, good boy. Cameron, you went out to talk to the Swamp Thing and made an ant monster. All right, I set it up. We'll have to see what goes on.
It'd be pretty cool if later on somehow you had him team up with Tracy 13, who derives her powers from actual cities and stuff like that for city magic.
Which people already brought up too. Yeah.
Stuff like that, but like for some reason, let's just say we're out somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Like City Boy can conjure up things that she can take power off of, always to make sure that she has enough power to do whatever she needs. It'd be a cool like team up.
Yeah, that would be cool. I was just trying to think of what, like, is there like a character's name like
Jack Hawksmoor as well?
Yeah, him as well. There's a bunch of those that they all get. It's the city core. You can have it all, Eric.
The city
I don't know.
beat.
I still like City Boy, but I do have to admit that we have one more issue left, right? That's something I could admit easily. But also, we really don't know what his fucking powers are. At one point, we were wondering, like, at one point he's making, like, jigsaws out of walls, and he's moving this, and he's finding trinkets. Now he's doing this.
Gotham trash monster?
Yeah. Now he's making ant monster
gigantic ants out of Earth?
Kills cockroaches. I mean, seriously, what is going on?
What happened to his grandpa?
Yeah. And what? His grandpa just did. I
like the concept of the character, and I like him being a street kid and stuff like that. I like all the tie-ins to Darkseid because it really elevates him to be bigger than most things going on in DC Comics right now because he's tied to fucking Darkseid. But when you tell a story where we're just going like, city to city for some quest, I got to find my mom, but each issue's like, and I have this power, and I have this power, but what is your power overall? Who the hell knows? Like, this is not, like, I still like the concept of the character, but the series is not going in a direction that I think really suits it very well for, longevity.
And I know that it's not, fully the character Cameron himself, but I thought that it'd be neat when we said, like, ooh, what would be, Central City? What would be like that? Ooh, Coast City. Is that like a surfer dude? Like, is he?
Again, eventually get there, but I don't need that shit each and every issue.
Oh, I'm saying that it would have been neat to see a little more. Even when we got Trash Monster and stuff, it just was there. And then this one, I think that Greg Pak just realized he needs to find out about his mom, but the city boy powers I've set up won't really do that. So
Where's Swamp Thing?
And then you tie in, like, it feels such a convoluted way. Nukes, explosion, live in the woods, cannibals,
dead,
eat her. Like, the idea of having that other family and things like that. And even when it's a nice feels moment of I just wanted to know if she loved me. I thought Swamp Thing was going to say, like, well, I guess you're never going to fucking find that out. Like, or it was going to be on the grave. Forward. Like the great thing. It's her name, and I love my son Cameron. Ooh, it did it.
City Boy going forward is going to lose his cool and, start doing apocalypse and shit out of nowhere. No, because the Fonz never lost his cool. But he's going to do this. He's going to have probably the friends he met along the way with Swamp Thing, Superman, Nightwing, and stuff like that, try to, like, calm him down. He's going to figure out who he is by the end, and also the idea that, yes, he's lost his mother, but maybe he can find out if he has a brother or a sister out there still.
Well, he does have that other family that's kind of tied in what's it called, a half sister or brother, or whatever they say.
I don't know.
So maybe you could have that. She's just like a park girl. Like, she could just affect parks in the city.
But I'm telling you, I do like the concept of Swamp Thing always thinking that Cameron might be a threat to, like, the Earth overall with his power set, so always keeping an eye out.
And I like the idea, like you said, brings in those other avatars that we got from Ram V. And so he would be on edge.
And Charles Soule.
And he would be on edge. Like, the idea of, like, this modern shit that keeps coming up, and you better not be fucking around with the Parliament of, trees, because that's my thing. And then he realizes that's
that machine
not the
queen?
case.
She a bitch.
Yeah, man, she a bitch. She is. Oh, my God. And the social media king, that guy is a dick, right?
Total dick.
That? That's me.
You seen them gears?
Yeah, those gears. Did you see that meat factory shit that was? I don't even know what's going on. And then that Trinity? Who knows what the fuck that is?
Oh, man, the Parliament of Nukes.
What happened if it ended up where the Trinity, she was the one who caused the nukes back in the day? Wouldn't make sense.
No, that was
kind of funny. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And people didn't know, I believe. That was like right at Infinite Crisis, right? When all that shit went down. But
that's right.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But all that, what would you give this?
Ultimately, I'm thinking to give this a 5.8 out of 10 because while I think the art is good and I still like the character and, like, how we're going to finish out the story, this issue took a strange turn in the power set and just hanging out trying to, like, be chill, be cool, relax, Swamp Thing style. Go touch some grass. It's just a very weird installment to this series overall.
Did it bug you? Huh?
Gave me ants in my pants.
Sometimes that could be fun. It's 5.5 for me as well. It's just, I hope that it ends well to the point where if we don't ever see City Boy again, at least we can say, well, that was a pretty cool series. And maybe, like, we want to see him later. Maybe it'll be a weird thing to try to fold him into something, but it'd be neat down the line if we did.
Do you remember in Frasier how they had that city landscape behind the title card of the TV show?
That's what you want is his placard.
No. I'm saying Cameron right now, his freaking tracksuit or jacket that he's wearing, he has that logo on there.
Does.
Like it's like a city thing. Because every time I look at it, I think it's like a Blue Beetle symbol. Like, oh no, you just got a weird cityscape on there. It's so odd to me. And then I just think of Frasier.
I just thought that he wanted to look like, that he was the lead singer of Oasis, but it does look like that. It's kind of funny. He's getting the branding going, so that's pretty cool.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.